Hey guys, welcome back to SwissWatchExpo. My name is Vlad, and today we're going to talk about racing chronographs. Racing and motorsport in general are very connected with the watches just because the timekeeping is extremely important in those type of sports. And a lot of watch brands, they have a pride into making the racing chronographs in their collection. They make a super big lineups of those and they market them. So today we're going to talk about three iconic chronographs for the racing. Welcome back guys, it's Vlad here, and today we're going to discuss some of the timekeeping and chronograph function in racing watches, and we have three very iconic brands and very iconic models in those brands in terms of the racing. So what we're looking up here is the Zenith El Primero movement, the Speedmaster watch, and the Heuer Carrera. Very iconic, and everybody have like their own cult and old people following them. But let's start with Zenith up here. So Zenith is a very important brand in terms of the chronograph function and their chronograph watches for racing especially, just because Zenith was the first company that invented automatic chronograph movement. A lot of other companies was using their movements, the Zenith movements in their watches, or just like base their chronograph automatic movements on the El Primero movement. And Zenith's still making crazy watches. They make very nice timepieces. And what we have here is a Chronomaster. This watch comes in 41mm case size, and it's a very interesting in design because every single subdial in chronograph is connected with the part of the bezel in terms of the color. So that's a nice finish on the timepiece. And the cool thing about this Zenith El Primero movement, it's actually working on a high beat. It's rotating in 36,000 rotations. And what this chronograph function does, it's actually calculate not the 60 seconds per turn, but 10 seconds per turn. So this way you can count much smaller amounts of time and much more precise in terms of racing, which is very important, especially when you time something very fast. So if you are looking for a very nice chronograph and you are in love with the heritage of Zenith El Primero movements, this is one of the most recent and most advanced technologies that Zenith put in their movements, with a very nice case that's very recognizable to a lot of watch lovers. So moving next, we're talking about the Omega Speedmaster. And even though the Speedmaster is known by their connection with space and their iconic professional lineup, they also very connected with sport, and Omega make a lot of racing chronographs in Speedmaster models. For a very long period of time, their watches was criticized by lack of the size because a lot of the Speedmaster come in 40mm, but now Omega actually fixed this problem, and this new racing edition comes in 44mm case size. It's much bigger watch, it's much easier to read it. This specific timepiece comes with a beautiful ceramic bezel where it's have the tachometer scale, and you can actually see it, which is very important because on the black bezel you have a white print and it's extremely visible. And the cool thing about this watch, what I love the most, it's actually two chronograph subdials. So first of all, at 9 o'clock you will be able to see the second hands, and at 3 o'clock you will be able to see your minutes. So it's very clearly visible. The bigger watch with a bigger face, you can read all those indicators much easier. It also comes with a very beautiful co-axial escapement movement from Omega, nicely decorated. With their also current and technologies that they put in those watches. Very nice, very robust, nice size. And if you are familiar with the Speedmaster heritage and their heritage with racing, Omega is actually the sponsor of all the Olympics and a lot of other races. So they're very connected with the timekeeping in extreme situations. The next thing is one of the most iconic in terms of the actual racing. This is the Heuer Carrera. Heuer made their name by making the racing chronographs. They are connected with a lot of major car brands, a lot of racing. They're very inspired by racing. And this Heuer Carrera is actually one of the also latest editions. It's come in the bigger size, which is 43mm. So it's a bigger watch from all three that we discussed. It's also come with a very nice design. I love the blue ceramic bezel and the dial with the white subdials. The thing that I like about the white subdials is that very clearly visible. So you definitely get the difference between the blue dial and subdial, and those hands are clearly visible on those subdials up there. What I also like about this watch is they put the second hands at the 6 o'clock, and they kind of like make them match with the dial. So you always obviously can see the second hands, but it does not interrupt you when you actually try to time racing. So very beautiful watch. It's come with a new Heuer 2 movement inside. So, and this specific model also was made to commemorate the 160th anniversary of Carrera. So it's also have like historical heritage for Tag Heuer. That's why they put a lot of technologies and a lot of advanced parts in the side of this watch. So we have all three of them and a lot of more iconic chronographs in the SwissWatchExpo inventory. So if you are a fan of the racing as I am and you're looking to kind of like celebrate it with a timepiece, get your phone in your hand and call the SwissWatchExpo.